So welcome back, folks, to the Motorsport Ireland Karting Championships. Lunch break has been completed, and we're getting ready to go for our next races. We have all the Heat 2s of all the classes and the finals coming up. So it should be a fantastic afternoon of racing. We start with our T4 Bambinos as ever, and they are on their warm-up laps now. So your grid is as follows. Georgie Greer on pole, Dara Fitzgibbon in second. Then it's Emerson Hallen, Ollie Keneally, Hugo Battersby, Danny Clancy, Elijah Hartzenberg, Christian Adam, Vince McMenamin, and Robin Fingleton. So Bambinos are standing start, as always, and we have 2 warm-up laps for all the classes here today, which really seems to be making the quality of the race starts better, so that may be something that we will see more of in the future. But there was a big shower just before lunch, or just before lunch ended, I should say, meaning a lot of debate in regards to tyre choices, slicks or wets. The correct decision could win you the race. The incorrect decision will most certainly mean you won't. So it is such an important aspect of karting, is your correct tyre choice. So just forming up on the grid now. It'll take a couple of moments and then we will have the second heat of our Bambinos. It'll be 8 minutes plus 1 lap. It was a great win earlier for Dara Fitzgibbon, but Georgie Greer got pole in the wet earlier on. So expect Georgie Greer to be towards the front as now we get ready and we pull away as we are racing. We'll have a closer look in a couple of moments for you folks, but it's a cracking start for Georgie Greer. And it is Emerson Hannon, I believe, who's gone. No, it is Ollie Keneally who's up to second place. So great start for Ollie Keneally as they're 3 wide heading down towards the turn 2 hairpin. Keneally on the outside, and Keneally I think has lost all that ground that he made up. Fitzgibbon and Hannon battling, and Emerson Hannon losing the place then to Ollie Keneally. Hugo Battersby's dropped down behind as well. So Georgie Greer once again nails the race start, and she is in the race lead. And there is Greer heading in through the hairpin. So Georgie Greer in the race lead. Then it's Dara Fitzgibbon, Emerson Hannon, Ollie Keneally, Elijah Hartensberg, Hugo Battersby, Danny Clancy, Christian Adam. And then it's Robin Fingleton who leads Vince McMenamin. Georgie Greer with a race lead of 1.5 seconds. Had a race lead similar to that in the first heat, but then Dara Fitzgibbon started closing her in. Emerson Hannon is side by side now with Ollie Keneally down towards the left-hander. And you can just see them there as they are heading through. Elijah Hartzenberg had a great opening lap. Gained 2 spots up to 5th place. Now fighting with Hugo Battersby. If you missed our earlier heat this morning, Hugo is now off his novice plates. I'm very proud running a yellow O plate. 3 podiums so far this season. And is currently 3rd in the championship. So still Georgie Greer in the race lead, but Dara Fitzgibbon has just set the fastest lap and is looking to close in on the young Northern Irish racer. Hugo Battersby is side by side now with Danny Clancy and Elijah Hartzenberg. Hartzenberg having one of his strongest weekends so far. And is right on the pace of one of the class frontrunners. As we get a look at the gap between Georgie Greer and Dara Fitzgibbon. And there is Hugo Battersby side by side with Ollie Keneally. So Battersby is ahead of Keneally. A good move for Hugo, who now finds himself in 4th position. So it's Greer, Fitzgibbon, Hannon. And there's Hugo Battersby, and that is Keneally. They're closing in on Emerson Hannon. So Hannon in third. Currently 7th in the championship, but did miss one round. So if you take into account the drop rounds, which is a new fantastic feature on the Ineos system, Emerson Hannon would find himself in second. Here is Hugo Battersby on the tail of Emerson Hannon. Hugo won the O Plate at this very circuit. As now, Hugo Battersby has found a way past, but Emerson Hannon able to get back down the inside. Running over the rumble strip on the outside is Battersby. But Emerson Hannon remains in front for the time being. Georgie Greer still in the race lead. But this is the fight for third that we are looking at here on Vantage Point Video. Emerson Hannon, 106. Hugo Battersby with the O Plate. Hugo almost dead staring Emerson Hannon, and Hannon's giving him the squeeze into the first corner. Battersby nudging Hannon down the straight. A lot of straight line speed for Hugo Battersby. Runs it wide for the hairpin. Emerson running the slightly quicker racing, well, say slightly quicker racing lines, the more normal racing line. But Hugo Battersby is quicker here. So the wet weather outside line, clearly the one of choice. As they look like they are on the wet weather tyres. It's very hard to tell from our position, but down towards the first corner, Hugo Battersby is now in front of Emerson Hannon. Track very slippy. Still at 20 degrees. Track temperature, that is, 15 air temp. Timing.ie, of course, providing all that information. You can check it out for yourself, folks, if you want an extra timing screen while watching along on our live broadcast. Is in through the left-hander. This will invite Emerson Hannon back in, as the gap up the front is now 0.2 of a second between Georgie Greer and Dara Fitzgibbon. Fitzgibbon looking to go 2 for 2. Fastest lap on the last lap for Dara Fitzgibbon. But Georgie Greer doing well at the front of that one. Greer actually quicker than Fitzgibbon on the last lap. It was a 46.9 for Greer, 47.1 for Fitzgibbon. As in through the right-hander. This is the battle for your lead. There's Georgie Greer in front. And Dara Fitzgibbon behind. And the gap is now, remains the same. So pace has stabilised for Georgie Greer. The number 111. Picking up her first podium last time out in Kiltorkin Raceway. 4th in the championship. But certainly has the pace to fight for the championship lead. But Fitzgibbon has just had such a cracking start to the season that he will be hard to catch. As now, Dara Fitzgibbon is looking for the move, but Georgie Greer has the straight line speed to stay in front. Lap traffic in front could cause a problem. That's Vince McMenamum. And down the inside, that is Dara Fitzgibbon, who has capitalised on the lap traffic. And Georgie Greer has lost the race lead very harshly. Fitzgibbon, though, just navigated that situation better, even if they are both extremely young racers. Fitzgibbon just used his experience, but Georgie Greer is back in front and back in the race lead with 40 seconds plus a lap to go. It is honours even at the front of this one so far. Both neck and neck pace-wise at the late stages of the second heat of the T4 Bambinos. And Dara Fitzgibbon has work to do now. They're lapping in the 46s. I think it will be the last lap next time round. Yep, will be the last lap. So one more to go. There's another lap cart in front, so Georgie Greer is able to navigate this one a little bit better. That's Robin Fingleton, who's making her debut here. And look at that, using the slipstream is Dara Fitzgibbon, but he's got nowhere to go. So Georgie Greer will remain in front for the time being. A tenth of a second separated them at the line at the front of the T4 Bambinos, the youngest but some of the fiercest racers in the Tillotson paddock. Georgie Greer still in front. Fitzgibbon overtook Greer on the last lap in the most recent final. Also overtook Hugo Battersby on the last lap in an unbelievable showing. But it's looking like Georgie Greer might be able to survive. One more corner to go. It's flat out for the final one, but Dara Fitzgibbon's got a great launch after. But history won't repeat itself, and Georgie Greer will come home to take the heat win. And that is a very good position for Georgie heading into the final. Fitzgibbon couldn't do it. Got past once, but Georgie Greer was able to get back past. Some great top-end speed on Georgie Greer's card. After Fitzgibbon got past by navigating better around the lap traffic. In the fight we were watching for the majority, Hugo Battersby did come home against Emerson Hannon. They didn't swap positions in that one. So we're just waiting on Danny Clancy to bring it home in the number 101. Clancy very competitive this morning, but unfortunately just didn't quite have the pace in that heat. So Danny Clancy will bring it round. But look, it was looking this morning like it was Dara Fitzgibbon's to lose, but Georgie Greer has proven that she's not going down without a fight this week, just like she didn't in Kiltorkin. And Georgie Greer deserves a shot at the race win in the final. And now we'll have a shot at the race win in the final. So here's your full results. And Georgie Greer is your classified race winner. Dara Fitzgibbon in second. Hugo Battersby in third. Then Emerson Hannon is in fourth. Ollie Keneally in fifth, Elijah Hartzenberg, then it's Christian Adam, Danny Clancy, Robin Fingleton, and Vince McMenamin. And without any further delay, folks, our T4 Minis have been released from the dummy grid. So we will get going for our second T4 Mini heat. It was Harley Burton dominance this morning. And can't really see it being any other way unless the tyre choice has gone wrong or something. Billy Green was quite fast this morning as well. Got up to second place very quickly. It is Burton on the pole. Stephen Doyle will start from second. As they head on their second warm-up lap. Jack Craig ran quite strong this morning as well. But it is Burton, Doyle, Green, Stafford, Kumar, Craig, McMahon, Sutcliffe, Ryan, Higgins, O'Sullivan, McRedmond and Crowley, your running order. As you can see it on your screen there now. Harley Burton will have pole on the inside. And then it'll be the 2-1-1 Stephen Doyle on his outside. But Billy Green, the O-plate runner, very strong in this morning's race. So keep an eye on him just behind Harley. These young racers will know they could realistically do with getting past Harley on the first lap if they want to challenge him and not let him run away into the distance. Showers of rain still falling here in Watergrasshill as they enter the tram lines, and we go racing in T4 Mini, and it's a great start by James Stafford Jr., who didn't get to start the first heat. He pulled off with a mechanical, but Billy Green once again repeats the feat, and he's up to second position very early on. There is Oisin O'Sullivan looking for places too, as is Jack Craig. Race start already under investigation here in this one, but Harley Burton leads. Then it's Billy Green, then Stephen Doyle, and James Stafford Jr. in fourth position. Kumar still in there in contention. As they complete the opening lap of running. Colin McMahon getting ahead of Jack Craig. That's in the fight for sixth. Your biggest gainer on the opening lap was Oisin O'Sullivan up 9, but Josh Higgins has fallen down to the back of the order, but still all running. So Harley Burton leads by 0.4 of a second, but no doubt that gap is increasing. It is still raining here, so the track will only be getting worse. Will that suit Billy Green? It was very similar conditions when he won the O-Plate here in Watergrasshill at the start of the year. But Harley Burton extends the gap up the front as they all fire the kart in towards the first corner. Harley Burton, 2 podiums this season. And finished second in the Euro Cup as well. Cannot buy a win, it seems, but today could be the day that the winless drought ends for Harley. His last championship win came in RMC. In Micromax, won the 8th round of the championship last season. Had a T4 win in Athboy in 2025. This is not Bruton we're looking at, but this is the fight for a podium place between Stephen Doyle and James Stafford Jr. Doyle, who started on the front row. Stafford, who started right behind him on the outside. And involved in this fight is Colin McMahon in the luminous yellow as well. And Stafford has passed Doyle, so Doyle made a mistake. And now Colin McMahon is right on the tail of Stephen Doyle. Colin McMahon raced in the Nations Cup last season in a lot hotter conditions than this, but well used to racing in Ireland. A lot of T4 Mini experience, including a 6th place finish in the championship last season. Hasn't finished on the podium in the finals, but has finished 5th twice. Guess where he's running now? That is 5th position. Or is it? No, it's now 4th as he's passed Stephen Doyle and is viciously informing Doyle of his plans to push on once more. Harley Burton in the lead of this race by 1.5 seconds. Billy Green in a very comfortable second. Colin McMahon is now pressing on to try and catch James Stafford Jr., who is in 3rd position. Jack Craig slowly closing in on this group. He runs in 6th. Ronan Sutcliffe, leading novice, is currently in 7th. Race start still under investigation. No penalties been handed out yet. It looked clean from the front row, but behind that there may have been some tram line infringements. Ah, look at this. This is Jack Craig right on the bumper of Stephen Doyle. And Jack Craig has caught up to Doyle. Putting in some fast laps is Craig. Was 0.2 quicker than Stephen on the last lap. Has not scored a podium in his young career, Craig, in the final. But has shown some promising signs today. Still relatively new to racing in the sport, but himself and his father Barry would spend a lot of time at the circuits taking photographs. Starting to rain a lot heavier here. You may not be picking it up on the camera, but certainly the window of Vantage Point Broadcasting HQ here is experiencing it. As a glance over the shoulder from James Stafford, Colin McMahon is chasing after him. 0.2 quicker on the last lap was Cullen. And with 4.5 minutes plus 1 lap left to go in this second heat of T4 Mini, definitely feasible for Cullen to catch and pass and finish on the podium. So a time penalty handed out for Stephen Doyle, so it gets worse. Doyle, who started 2nd, currently runs in 5th, now has picked up a 5-second time penalty. That will dump him down behind Jack Craig, as here's Colin McMahon in the number 208, the luminous yellow or green. It's up to your own interpretation. But one thing that's for certain, he's looking to make a pass on James Stafford Jr. for the final podium place in heat number 2. Colin McMahon is ahead, and that is it's another wave. Another wave and saying, come on, let's go for more. Let's catch Billy Green. Full of confidence today is Colin McMahon, and you can see it in his driving. Three minutes and 20 seconds remaining in this one. Harley Burton leads by 4.5 seconds over Billy Green in second, the O-Plate runner. Seventh in the championship last season was Billy Green. Sits seventh coming into it this season. Or coming into this race this season. Craig still not past Sutcliffe, or Craig still not past Doyle, still ahead of Sutcliffe by 1.3 seconds. Varant Kumar now fighting with Josh Higgins down towards the back. Had a good qualifying, did Kumar, but unfortunately the race pace just hasn't been there. Still a good learning experience, these conditions. And let's have a look at the lap times between McMahon and Green. Colin McMahon, 0.3 of a second quicker than Billy Green. Harley Burton set the fastest lap of the race with a 37.9. Colin McMahon did a 38.1. And then it was a 38.4 for Billy Green. Gap stands at 1.1. One minute and 30 seconds remain. Now a second between Green and McMahon. One mistake is all it takes, but if Billy Green can run smooth laps, he may be A-OK here. Luke Ryan is in ninth, extending the gap over Blake McRedmond in what is his second round of the season. As there's another fastest lap for Harley Burton, 37.8. Goes a 10th of a second quicker once again. What's the gap like between these two? 0.7 of a second now between Colin McMahon and Billy Green. So Colin McMahon is once again starting to turn the screw a little bit. And Billy Green could be under pressure on the final laps here. T4 Mini, Heat 2. Here in Event 8 of the Motorsport Ireland Karting Championships. Billy Green in second. Colin McMahon in third. And McMahon is driving the wheels off his Tillotson like he never has before. 2 laps to go in this one. The gap is now 0.3 of a second. No doubt Billy Green, very experienced at such a young age, will be feeling the pressure a little bit of Colin McMahon, who's now close enough to try and overtake. Down towards turn number 3. Here comes Colin McMahon. Lunge on the inside. Block pass. Oh, what a beauty by McMahon. That's a touch of class about it. And Colin McMahon is up to second position here in this one. Made Billy Green steer out of the corner, forced him onto the slippy part of the circuit, and Colin McMahon is now into second place. That could be the best overtake of the day so far, and that was a excellent, precise move from the number 208. It's an all-clear shootout for a second. And Colin McMahon is the one ahead. There was no stopping Harley Burton, though, who's coming for the final corners to take the checkered flag. And another dominant display. 7 seconds to the better of the field. But Colin McMahon, what a well-earned second place. And yes, Colin, absolutely celebrate that one. That was a stormer from the number 208. Delighted going across the line, as he should be. A cracking move on Billy Green. So our final finishers coming home. Stephen Doyle's penalty demoted him behind Ronan Sutcliffe and Jack Craig. So Doyle will finish in 7th in the end. But that is 2 for 2 from 4B's Harley Brereton. And he beats Colin McMahon by 7.3 seconds. But McMahon getting ahead of Green on the second last lap. James Stafford Jr. comes home in 4th. Then it's Jack Craig, Ronan Sutcliffe, Stephen Doyle, Oisin O'Sullivan, Luke Ryan and Varant Kumar. Then behind Kumar is Blake McRedmond, Josh Higgins and Milo Crowley. And we are very nearly getting ready to go for the junior race. So no rest for the wicket here in Watergrasshill. The rain is coming down even more. I think wet tyres is the more likely decision, but the track doesn't look too bad. But looking and feeling is very different. It'll be interesting to see. Do we have a big shuffle of positions? That is usually what indicates whether you're on wets or dries. But T4 Junior coming up in a couple of moments. So Jack Fingleton was supposed to be on pole position, but I don't see him out there. It is Fionn English in 2nd, then Ben O'Keefe in 3rd, Zach Battersby in 4th, then it's Tiernan O'Connor, Adrian Gale. Then further down the back, O'Donovan 14th. Then it is Daly, King, O'Callaghan, McIntyre, Cooling, Stafford, Keneally, Strang, Murphy and Ava Moore. I wonder, has Jack Fingleton missed the gate trying to change tyres? And then 26th or 25th is Kedzarek, 26th is McMahon, then it's Teddy Black, Luke Kelly, Bobby Hackett and Dominic Skriomski. Bobby Hackett, by the way, keep an eye on Bobby, 29th to 11th in the opening heat. Yeah, Fionn English is leading Ben O'Keefe around. Ben O'Keefe has changed helmet again. Ben, you are really not making my life easy. And I don't think Jack Fingleton has made it out. If you're new to karting and you don't understand the concept of missing the gate, you have to be in the paddock assembly area a certain time before the race starts. The gate will be closed at a certain time. If you're not inside that area, you are not allowed race. You have to be in that area with all your tyres on. It's not a case of changing tyres. You can't change tyres in that area. You have to do it outside. Once you're in that area, it's effectively park fairway conditions. I think you can check pressures and all that stuff. But Jack Fingleton is not on pole position. And if Fionn English on the outside will set the pace as we head down towards the first corner for the second heat of T4 Junior. Ben O'Keefe tries to lunge it down the inside. Zach Battersby is on the outside. Adrian Giel is there as well. And as they head through the hairpin, it is... it's very slippy, and they all run that little bit wide. It's Fionn English who leads his OHR teammate Ben O'Keefe, and Zach Battersby is there as well. Then it's the PBR DMS runner of Adrian Giel. And it's Dermot Claridge, your Heat 1 winner, who's trying it round the outside as they all head down the main straight. Fionn English leads. Then it is Ben O'Keefe. Tiernan O'Connor, apologies, not Adrian Giel. Then Zach Battersby in 4th. Giel is in 5th position. Adrian not wearing his PBR suit, so he usually does. Or maybe he is, but he has a wetsuit on it. It's Tiernan O'Connor there in 3rd. Tiernan O'Connor in the number 307, formerly of SR36. As they head through the final corner now. Top 4, all within a second. English, O'Keefe, O'Connor, Battersby. Dermot Claridge Jr. getting ahead of Adrian Giel. He goes to 5th. Certainly whatever tyres they're on is the correct choice. We're all running as we expected. Bobby Hackett hasn't made it out either, so that's disappointing for Bobby, who went so well in the first heat. Went from 29 to 11th. Here's a move for Tiernan O'Connor. Looking for it on Ben O'Keefe. Ben, who had a non-finish in the opening heat. He's pushed to the outside, and Zach Battersby does what Battersby does best and just sneaks down the inside. But Ben O'Keefe once again lunges it, and Battersby goes for the switchback. They're free wide down towards the left-hander into the hairpin, and it is Zach Battersby who is up to 2nd position. Need to come up with some sort of name for those little moves Battersby can constantly pull off. He just dummies them so well. And the Battersby blindside, that's what we'll go for now, because just gets it stopped so quickly, switches on the inside, and is able to almost overtake 2 of them. He's pulled it off, I think, 3 times today so far. Fionn English, though, up the road by the guts of a second. Responsibility lies on Zach Battersby as, we've someone pulled off a side there. So there will be another DNF to the junior race, and it's Max Cooling, I think. Max Cooling down the back. No, it's either James King or Max Cooling, because they have not registered a lap time. Claridge is slowly catching this pack in the second heat of T4 Junior. Zach Battersby is catching for the race lead as well. Almost the king of second places in karting this year is Zach Battersby. There's Ben O'Keefe down the inside. A freshly painted lid for Ben, and really giving Tiernan O'Connor the squeeze. I love how he hasn't even looked to the left once, just so aware of a situation. And not that time! That was very close. That was very close for Ben O'Keefe. But he remains in 3rd place. Hopefully the bumper didn't take a hit. As now Tiernan O'Connor is on the tail of O'Keefe for the final corner. And Dermot Claridge is as well. Nathan Mitchell in 6th position, and Ali Garcia is up to 8th. Once again a nudge. This is aggressive racing from both O'Keefe and O'Connor. There's a second splitting the top 2. As O'Keefe bounces it over the rumble strips, he'll remain in front of Tiernan O'Connor for the time being. A member of the Killarney District Motor Club. His father, Kevin O'Connor, also racing. Lies 15th in the championship, does Tiernan, but running very well here today. Ali Garcia ahead of Adrian Giel. Ali Garcia, your championship round winner at this track in very similar conditions, but it was a case of right tyre choice at the right time. Speaking of winning, This is the fight for the lead in heat number 2. It is Fionn English and Zach Battersby. Nip and tuck with 5 minutes to go. Fionn English, number 322, took the win in Kiltorgan in round number 2. He leads the king of P2, Zach Battersby. Is chasing after him down towards the first corner. Further down the order, both Rory O'Donovan and Will Daly making places. Will Daly in the number 336 cart has former Tillotson and current Miami racer Warren Russell on the spanners. And look how close these two are getting through the final corner. Little bit wide for Fionn English. Is this Zach Battersby's chance to attack? Battersby is running a very smart and mature race here. He's not gone for anything that may cause them to fall into the clutches of Ben O'Keefe, who is in third. They're both just pushing on, setting faster laps than the two behind, and then when they have a gap that Battersby's probably comfortable with, which is about now to be fair, he may go for an overtake. Dermot Claridge Jr. still in 5th. Nathan Mitchell running very strong in 6th ahead of Ali Garcia. As Fionn English sets the fastest lap of the race. Listen to this, folks. Listen to this. Fionn English fastest lap of the race, 37.785. Zach Battersby did a 37.786. There is 1,000 separating their two best laps. That's just been beaten by Owen McNamara, but it was a good stat while it lasted. Owen McNamara of Alex Dempsey Racing was excluded from the final here in round number 1, so on a little bit of a redemption arc. The Galway City Karting lap record holder. And his cousin Maddie McNamara, a former Mondello lap record holder. And one of, dare I say, few fluent Irish speakers in the paddock. So, English and Battersby. Still as even as they were a handful of laps ago. A 10.5 separating them every lap. It's another fastest lap from Fionn English. This time not as close to the lap as Zach Battersby, but he is right behind. And now English running that little bit wide. And Owen McNamara again with the fastest lap. McNamara's in 14th. But putting in some incredible lap times. He's chasing after Jack Keneally. And Jack Keneally, who is chasing after Rory O'Donovan. 1.5 minutes plus 1 lap to go here in this one. And my, oh my, is it nervy at the front. There's a black and white, that's for Owen McNamara, is it? No, that's for Ali Garcia. So Ali Garcia picking up a warning. Still no move from the top two. Who dares wins? 50 seconds and a lap to go. We will have potentially three more laps, including this one. So plenty of time for Zach Battersby. We are lapping in the 37, so we are on slick conditions here. So Dermot Claridge has just got past Tiernan O'Connor. Claridge is now up to 4th. Ali Garcia has got past Nathan Mitchell. So the Spaniard up to 6th position. It's gas, isn't it? The Spanish driver performs very well in the rain in Cork. 2 more laps of this one. T4 Junior Heat 2. And it is Fionn English leading Zach Battersby. Jay Collins has got past Adrian Giel. And Will Daly has got past Jack Keneally. Owen McNamara has got past all of them. So McNamara's up to 11th. Finlay Crowley has dropped 2. He's now behind Ian Kedzarek and Callum McIntyre in 18th. Last lap board at the ready is now the time that Zach Battersby goes for the race winning overtake. He has been so patient. He's had the patience of a saint here, and now he's actually fallen that little bit behind Fionn English. Surely the move is on here, is it? No, he's just driving. Is he driving for second place? Driving just to get a good starting position in the final? He's had his fair share of contacts in the last couple of weeks, Zach Battersby, and I think he is just taking the composed route. And what a mature performance from Zach Battersby. For the sake of entertainment, it's not great, but it is the smart decision, as Fionn English will bring it home to take the checkered flag and the win. And Zach Battersby will come home in second. Ben O'Keefe will take third ahead of Dermot Claridge. And Tiernan O'Connor, your top 5. Well, that was all a little bit disappointing, wasn't it? But it's a very sensible approach from the top 2. Very sensible. They've guaranteed themselves a good starting position for the final. Jack Fingleton not racing in Heat 2. Ben O'Keefe non-finish in Heat number 1. They'll both be in the mid-pack. So that will give English and Battersby a great chance at fighting for the win. And albeit not... as we've 2 off there. Both drivers... well, it doesn't look like there was contact. Well, there probably was, but there doesn't look like significant damage as the carts are being wheeled out and driven home. We had quite a few who didn't make the finish there, unfortunately. Max Cooling and James King. So, your confirmed race results. It is Fionn English who takes the win ahead of Zach Battersby, Ben O'Keefe, Dermot Claridge, Tiernan O'Connor, Ali Zambrano Garcia. Then it is Nathan Mitchell, Jake Collins, Owen McNamara with the fastest lap in 9th, and Wesley Brereton in 10th. Adrian Gale finishes in 11th, ahead of Will Daly in 12th. Then it's Jack Keneally, Rory O'Donovan, the United States representative, then Emily Stafford. Got a podium here last time out in the final. Ian Kedzarek, Callum McIntyre, Finlay Crowley, Luke Kelly, Dominic Skriolski in 20th position. Then it was Saoirse McMahon, Nathan Strang, Teddy Black ahead of Matthew O'Callaghan, Owen Murphy ahead of Ava Moore, Max Cooling and James King. With no start from Fingleton or Bobby Hackett. T4 Senior Heat 2 coming up in a few moments. So Luke Palmer starts on pole here in T4 Senior. Then it's Mackenzie Smith. Butler, Burke, Brett, Wilson, Alan Butler, Brunel, Toomey, O'Mahony, Brereton, and Joe Bechtold, who was excluded from race number 1 for being underweight. Then it's McMahon, O'Sullivan, McClelland, O'Neill, Keneally, Mooney, Maguire, Kedzarek, Phelan, Perry, Gallagher, and Ben McNulty, the number 4, 09. And finally, Ben Deasy, or Hassan Khan, Ben Deasy, and Isabel McDermott. Very interesting T4 Senior Race 1. Luke Palmer crossed the line in first, but quite an avoidable tramlines penalty cost him the win. He did get second place, though, ahead of Joe Bechtold, but Bechtold then was excluded for being underweight, and it was by quite a small margin. Robert Butler went down as the Heat 1 winner. But Brian Wilson dropped down the order. Jake Brunel finished 18th or something like that. So it was a real shuffle up. We've had a couple go off on the reconnaissance laps. But we should all be together come the race start. Oh, problems. There's problems for one there. And I think that could be Timon Kedzarek. As we're still going to go to green, unfortunately, for Timon. As heading down towards the first corner is Luke Palmer, and that's a much better race start. He's followed through by Robert Butler, and Mackenzie Smith has fallen down to third position very early on. And off the circuit is the number 414 of Kayla O'Sullivan in the gravel. As down through the hairpin, all safely through. Burke has dropped back a little bit. Brian Wilson fighting with him as there is yellow flags out, and are we under a full yellow here? No, we're still green. Kedzarek has got going, I think, and so has Kayla O'Sullivan, so we're all still in. Luke Palmer leads Robert Butler, who leads Peter Brett. Then it's Mackenzie Smith, Wilson, Burke and Adam Butler in 6th place. Then it's Brunel, Toomey and Joe Bechtold. Joe Bechtold started 12th. He's up 2 positions to 10th. Looking to fight his way through the field and get back up towards the front runners. It was a fantastic drive in heat number 1. But Luke Palmer is gone at the front of this one. And they are approaching a little bit of lap traffic. And oh, there is... Oh no, Timon Kedzarek didn't get going. Oh, that's so disappointing for Timon. An enjoyer of both high-speed chess and the slightly lower-speed chess. Sometimes known as chess. But unfortunately, won't be taking part in heat number 2. Here's Luke Palmer, your race leader. That is Kayla O'Sullivan, who they are approaching in the number 414. Palmer, one of the tallest drivers in the paddock, standing at 6'4". And you can see him Euro lean his way through the corners. Now right on the tail of Kayla O'Sullivan, who will be receiving blue flags. And that has worked out. That's worked out okay for Palmer, to be honest. Could have been worse. Robert Butler was slightly impeded as well. Not by Kayla's fault. It's not an easy track to get out of the way of, especially when the entire leading group are coming past you. It's absolutely not Kayla's fault by any stretch of the imagination that any of those drivers may have been impeded. And Joe Bechtold has got past O'Sullivan now, so O'Sullivan unfortunately going to be lapped by most of the field here after what I suspect was contact at the first corner. But now there is there's Peter Brett, I should say, looking for the move on Robert Butler. But Brett and Mackenzie Smith wearing similar race suits and helmets. And Brian Wilson splitting the two. The simple all white. These are your leaders with 7 minutes and 40 seconds to go. It is Dromore, County Downs, Luke Palmer. No, it isn't. It's Robert Butler who gets it done on the inside. And now Palmer is under pressure from Peter Brett. Robert Butler into the race lead on the circuit for the first time. Didn't actually lead any lap in the last race, but, well, he led the last lap through the penalty count, but didn't actually cross the line in first. But he is now ahead of Luke Palmer. And now Peter Brett is looking to follow through. An all-black bumper on the front of Peter Brett's Tillotson. And Brett is now ahead, but Luke Palmer sells him the dream. And the number 403 remains in front with a beautiful switchback manoeuvre through the long sweeping right-hand turn number 1 here in Adventure Park. It was Dromore Downs' Luke Palmer in the race lead. It's now Kilkenny's Robert Butler. Seven-tenths of a second the gap up front now. Robert Butler loves this circuit. Won here earlier on this year and is running very well. Joe Bechtold is behind Robert Butler's fellow namesake Adam Butler. Bechtold with a whole lot of pace as well, but just his poor qualifying has hampered his chances. Well, and the exclusion from race number 1 is going to put him down the order in the final anyways. But he may as well try and make the best of a bad situation. Tara Keneally has lost 15th place to Spider-Man. Toby Maguire. And now here's a move down the inside to Peter Brett. And Peter Brett has got it done on Luke Palmer this time round. Palmer not able to hit him with the switchback. And now Brian Wilson is right behind Luke Palmer as well. Not able to lunge it down the inside. There's a black and white flag being shown to Owen O'Mahony. That is the Munster Kart Club's Owen O'Mahony. And here comes Brian Wilson trying to move on Luke Palmer. This is the final podium place here in this heat, but he's not able to make it stick just yet, and Palmer will remain in third. Tillotson T4 Senior Heat 2 here on Vantage Point Video for Event 8 of the Motorsport Ireland Karting Championships. If you're just joining us, what a great time to join us. We're getting into the nitty-gritty but the exciting bit of the day. The final senior heats and then our finals for each class in what could be a very important day for any championship endeavours. Josh Phelan has just set the fastest lap in the number 419. Was quite quick earlier on as well, was Josh Phelan. These drivers do need to be careful. The weather forecast did show a shower of rain around this time. Here's your leader, Robert Butler, as that is some problems for Ben McNulty in the number 409, a student of the University of Limerick, raced for their intervarsity team as well. He will receive blue flags and get out of the way of Robert Butler. Well, and Peter Brett, who is chasing after Butler. Speaking of rental karting competitions, Peter Brett knows all about them. With a Teesside 24-hour victory, which is a ridiculously difficult race to win. Not even about like the caliber of talent in the field. It's just about having a rental cart that works for that long. Obviously they swap and change for fuel and stuff like that, but even still. Peter Brett really close to Robert Butler now, and this is exactly what Robert Butler was doing to Luke Palmer in the opening heat. He was just constantly catching and catching and catching. But Apex Twins Racing's Peter Brett did look up the inside, didn't go for it. So he will remain behind. And now Peter Brett is looking for the race lead. 5th in the championship last season. Picked up 2 podiums in round 6 and round 7. Hasn't got one this season as he sits 9th in the championship, and the lap traffic is going to impact these two a little bit. That hurt Peter Brett because that was probably the chance to go for a move up the inside, but he couldn't because he was boxed in. He'd love a win on home soil. The Corkonian, as now he's going for it down the inside. And this is a good opportunity for Peter Brett to take the race lead. Robert Butler's got to be feeling brave to hang it around on the slippy side of the circuit, and he wasn't. And Peter Brett leads Heat 2 of T4 Senior. Robert Butler pushes him through the corner as they both run wide. Luke Palmer's a little bit too far back to capitalise on this. 1.7 seconds to be exact, as there's 1:20 left to go. Has Robert Butler got anything left in the tank to throw at Peter Brett? Or will Brett take the second heat win of the day? Oh, what pace for Peter Brett. Just charges down the road. Started this race in 5th position on the inside row. And now leading. Two more laps for Peter Brett after this one. And it's looking all good from his perspective. Robert Butler does not have the pace to keep up. And the pace setters this morning, very different to the ones now. The track probably feels very different. The rain coming down once again. Just in time for Senior 168, which was won by Anthony Holland this morning. He was on the slick tyres. Owen O'Mahony's got past Tara Keneally for 15th position as we head on to the final lap of the race. Last lap board is shown to Peter Brett of Apex Twin Racing, who gets past another lapped kart. And there's the gap between himself and Robert Butler. Just had the pace advantage, and Butler didn't defend him off for too long. So it will be Peter Brett who takes the win in heat number 2. Oh, if he doesn't hit a lap kart, that is. But to take the checkered flag, it is Peter Brett. Robert Butler in second. Luke Palmer will take his second podium in third. So it will be Butler and Palmer on the front row for the final. Mackenzie Smith comes home in fourth. Then it's Brian Wilson in fifth. And that rounds out your top 5. Some good races across the board. Joe Bechtold wasn't able to make the same inroads that he could in heat number 1. He finishes in 9th. A little bit of kart recovery to go here, although the snatch crew in Watergrasshill today has been excellent. So hats off to all them. So, confirmation of Peter Brett as your race winner. Robert Butler in second. Then it's Luke Palmer in third, ahead of Jack Mackenzie Smith in fourth. Brian Wilson takes fifth, ahead of Keith Burke, Josh Phelan. Then it is Adam Butler, Joe Bechtold and Cahan McClelland. David McMahon comes home in 11th, ahead of Elijah Mooney in 12th. Then it's Jake King Brunel in 13th. Tyler Burton in 14th, ahead of Owen O'Mahony in 15th. Tara Keneally in 16th. Then it is Toby Maguire, Dermot Toomey, Isabel McDermott and Ben Deasy, followed by Ben McNulty, Hassan Khan, Kayla O'Sullivan, Michael Gallagher, and it is Max O'Neill, Timon Kedzarek and Adam Perry with non-finishes. Starting to rain again here. Wets could be the choice for 168, which will be coming up in a few minutes. So the T4168 carts are out. It is Mark Orman on pole. Then it's Colin Munnelly alongside Eddie Roach, Anthony Holland, Luke Kavanagh, Chris Coleman, Mickey Brennan, Tom Croke, Stephen Brett and Kevin McRedmond. And Eddie Roach has made it out this time. Missed the gate the last time, as they look like wet tyres to me for Mark Orman. His hand kind of forced because he's on pole. But it is raining heavier. As you can see, the number 510. That's Eddie Roach behind him. Colin Munnelly alongside. Anthony Holland was the dominant force in this class earlier on this morning. Won on the slicks. So as we round towards the final corners, will it be more Anthony Holland dominance? Can Mark Gorman lead from the front? Had great pace in qualifying, but just the wrong tyre choice forced them to slip down in the opening heat. Down towards the tram lines, it is Gorman and Munnelly on the front row as we go racing for the second heat in the 168s, and it is Mark Gorman who leads Eddie Roach, but Colin Munnelly swings it round the outside. Gorman is drifting wide, and Eddie Roach is drifting wide, and Eddie Roach has lost a couple of places. And as they head towards the hairpin, Mark Gorman slipping and sliding. There was a couple of positions gained there for Mickey Brennan, who's up to fourth place. Now Colin Munnelly side by side with Mark Gorman in through the chicane, and Colin Munnelly leads here in Senior 168. Slippy track conditions, and Colin Munnelly uses all his Senior 168 experience. Luke Kavanagh diving down the inside of Gorman once again, and hopefully it is not a fall for the field for Mark Gorman once again. Another creative fist pump approach from Luke Kavanagh, as Anthony Holland runs a little bit wide. He's now fighting with Mickey Brennan, who's in fourth. And Brennan trying to switch back on Anthony Holland. He's pulled that one off. But it's Colin Munnelly who leads Luke Kavanagh. Mark Gorman remains in third. Anthony Holland lunging down the inside and has now got past Mickey Brennan. Look at these two, bumper to bumper off the track. Luke Kavanagh doesn't go for it down the inside. Backs it off, saves it, waits for it. And he will go for the smarter move. Certainly the most difficult class to overtake in, but Luke Kavanagh is going to try and prove that that is wrong. Down the inside, as easy as you like for Luke Kavanagh, carries the momentum a lot more than Colin Munnelly did. And he is now in the race lead. Anthony Holland confirmation he's got past Mickey Brennan. Stephen Brett was able to get past Tom Croak. Now here's Anthony Holland and Colin Munnelly. And Holland, last of the late breakers down the inside. That is excellent pace from Anthony Holland once again. And he'll now chase after his new rival, Luke Kavanagh, at the front of this field with 8 minutes remaining. And here is Anthony Holland, makes it look simple, goes down the inside and is into the race lead once again. No matter the conditions, Anthony Holland is making this look very, very simple. Championship leader coming into the round. With 2 heat wins and a strong final performance will likely lead it leaving it. Mark Gorman's fallen to 6 now. Both Mickey Brennan and Eddie Roach able to get past. And now here is Brennan chasing after Colin Munnelly for 3rd. Brand new pristine Tillotson race suit being sported by Mickey Brennan. And he goes down the inside of Colin Munnelly. And Munnelly just drifts wide at the corner. Lovely move by Mickey Brennan. And Eddie Roach, his Carrick and Suir Motor club mate, just follows him through. So, Brennan now up to 3rd. But he's under pressure from Eddie Roach behind. And Eddie Roach looking for it on the inside. Not able to find it is the 499. Best result of 4th this season for Eddie Roach in finals. And that was here in Watergrasshill. We'll have to wait and see what he can produce come the last final of the day, which will be the final for this T4 168, or T4 Masters as it's now known as in Europe. Anthony Holland, fastest lap of the race with a 36.4, leading by 3 seconds, so you may call him in and crown him race winner already. Unless something goes wrong. Always can do, but pace certainly not going to beat Anthony Holland here today. Mickey Brennan still holding on to the 3rd place lead over Eddie Roach. And a little bit wide there by Brennan. And Eddie Roach is right behind down towards the first corner. Brennan, glance over the right-hand shoulder. Very much aware of how close the man behind him is to his rear bumper. There's no real way past for Eddie Roach. It is very difficult to overtake in 168 if you don't have a significant pace advantage. Like Anthony Holland made it easy because he has a significant pace advantage. If you're close on pace, which Brennan and Roach seem to be, it's so difficult to overtake. Eddie Roach still nice and calm, not getting too agitated yet that he can't get past and get onto get onto the podium. There's still 4 minutes plus a lap remaining in this heat. And then we'll have our finals coming up, starting with Bambinos and running through the whole order. Should be some crackers in it. Heat 2s have been good. Heat 1s were a little bit lackluster this morning, but Heat 2s have been good. Now, these have gone onto the back of Luke Kavanagh. So Luke Kavanagh is in this fight as well. It's now a three-way fight for second. So as much as we were looking at Brennan and Roach, they have been catching Luke Kavanagh. And now here comes Mickey Brennan down the inside. And that is second position now for Brennan in the 168s. Lovely move. But Luke Kavanagh will fight it back. Of course he will. The Kilkenny man down the inside, and Luke Kavanagh stays in front of Mickey Brennan. Now this is getting a tasty affair. With less than 3 minutes plus 1 lap to go in Watergrasshill. Mickey Brennan on the inside, back down towards the first corner once again. Needs to be careful not to drift too wide. That forces Kavanagh wide, and sneaking through is Eddie Roach. And both Brennan and Roach working together very well there to catch and pass Luke Kavanagh for second position. A man who was new to 168 class racing, was very good in regular senior. And now there's a whole gaggle of them together. That's Stephen Brett, who was on the back now. So they've all got to be careful not to be passed by Stephen Brett. 2 minutes to go. Anthony Holland is 10 seconds up the road from this pack, but Mickey Brennan is in second position. But Eddie Roach now finally has an overlap, and it's his first time really going around the outside. Going to be very difficult to do so if Mickey Brennan nails his braking here. He hasn't really, or he has. He has. Eddie Roach didn't have enough momentum for the switchback. And oh, look how close these three are. That's Stephen Brett introducing himself to the party. Mickey Brennan positions his Tillotson perfectly. There wasn't enough room on the outside or the inside for Eddie Roach to go, and that's cost him. And now Stephen Brett is down his inside in the 519, and Stephen Brett now finds himself on the podium in T4 Senior 168. And now he's going for a lunge on Mickey Brennan. He's going for a lunge on Mickey Brennan. Oh, Mickey Brennan not too happy with that one. It was an almighty send from Stephen Brett. Eddie Roach finds his way through as well. And now Luke Kavanagh dives down the inside from second to fourth in a handful of corners for Mickey Brennan. But this is a fantastic race in 168. 50 seconds plus a lap to go. Mickey Brennan on the outside touches the gravel. He's got to be really frustrated with that one. It was a little bit ambitious from Stephen Brett. There was contact made at the apex. Interesting to see if the stewards look at that one. So second final lap, they've all spaced out a little bit. There's your race leader. Out for a lovely, nice bank holiday Sunday drive. Anthony Holland. He's probably thinking of his own circuit, coming up with new business ideas, or maybe thinking what he'd like for dinner this evening. Or maybe even singing a nice sweet song to himself. Because he has so much time to think. He's in the race lead by almost 15 seconds. Well, 12.3, but makes no odds. He's 2 corners in front of the rest of the pack. And Anthony Holland is going to take the Heat 2 win. He'll start from pole in the final. And bar any mechanical misfortune, he may well take the second final win of the championship season. But we won't call it too early. It's the Heat 2 final win for Anthony Holland. And Stephen Brett will come home in second. In what was a very exciting Senior 168 second heat. First race was awful. That was very good. Very interesting. As Colin Munnelly comes home in 8th, that's a disaster for Colin, so it must have been the wrong tyre choice there. As they all take the checkered flag, and Anthony Holland comes home 4 business days ahead of the rest. So we'll have T4 Bambino final coming up next. After that is our heat races completed here in Watergrasshill. An exciting plethora of heats. And it'll be our 9-minute plus 1 lap Bambino heat to come up. And they split the spoils. It was Darragh Fitzgibbon who won one and Georgie Greer who won the other. So it'll be exciting to see how that one plays out in a few moments' time. But first, we will have confirmation of Anthony Holland's race win. Stephen Brett in second and Eddie Roach in third. Luke Kavanagh in fourth. Mickey Brennan comes home in fifth. Kevin McRedmond in sixth. Then it was Chris Coleman ahead of Colin Munnelly. Mark Gorman. And New Ross's Tom Croke in 10th position. Folks, go grab yourself some refreshments. Get nice and comfy. It's finals time for Event 8 of the Motorsport Ireland Karting Championships coming up. So Darragh Fitzgibbon will start on pole for the final. Georgie Greer alongside. Then it will be Emerson Hannon, Hugo Battersby, Ollie Keneally, Danny Clancy, Elijah Hartzenberg, Christian Adam, Robin Fingleton, and Vince McMenamin is your T4 Bambino final grid. Standing start for Bambinos as always. And this will be 9 minutes plus 1 lap. Darragh Fitzgibbon did get the lead off Georgie Greer in heat number 2, but Georgie Greer was able to keep it. The wins this season have gone the ways of Darragh Fitzgibbon and Emerson Hannon. Fitzgibbon with 2, Hannon with 1. Georgie Greer's never won in T4 Bambino. Got her first podium last time out. It was 3 weeks ago in Kiltorkin at the most recent round of Tillotson action. As they're all gridded up here for the final of the Tillotson T4 Bambinos. And now we go racing, and it's a great start once again from Georgie Greer, who gets off the line excellently and will lead into the opening corner. Emerson Hannon is in a drag race here with Ollie Keneally, and Hugo Battersby is just falling adrift behind. Danny Clancy falling into line behind Elijah Hartzenberg, but it is Georgie Greer, out in front, as she was in the opening heats after the race start. Then it's Fitzgibbon. Then it is Emerson Hannon. There's a little bit of contact at the apex between Emerson Hannon and Ollie Keneally, and that allows Hugo Battersby to sneak through. Battersby up to third. There goes Danny Clancy with a monster lunge. Clancy now up to fourth. And Emerson Hannon finds himself down in fifth position. A young man with championship ambitions is looking to try and get back through the field. But Georgie Greer leads. Dara Fitzgibbon in second. Then it is Hugo Battersby in third, ahead of Danny Clancy in fourth and Emerson Hannon in fifth. Keneally dropping behind to sixth. So both Hannon and Keneally got fairly decent getaways, but they fell down throughout the rest of the lap. Ollie Keneally, third in the championship, has finished fourth twice this season. Would love a podium finish. Emerson Hannon is under pressure from Keneally now. But Georgie Greer out in front. Dara Fitzgibbon, though, is slowly catching. Fitzgibbon with the fastest lap. 46.5. Which was a whopping 0.7 of a second quicker than Georgie Greer on the last lap. But Greer usually gets quicker as the race goes on. And now here comes Dara Fitzgibbon. He's planning his attack a lot earlier than he did in heat number 2. And he's going to have 6.5 minutes to try and make the overtake on Georgie Greer to try and win his third race of the season, his third consecutive. No, apologies, not his third consecutive. He won the opening round in Watergrasshill, but Hannon took the second win in Kiltorkin. As I speak of the devil, there is Emerson Hannon and last year's champion Danny Clancy, who are fighting. This is for fourth position, so Emerson Hannon is up to fourth, ahead of Danny Clancy, and will now be chasing after Hugo Battersby. There's Battersby in front. In no man's land. That's Georgie Greer and Dara Fitzgibbon right close once again. But this is very interesting. So Dara Fitzgibbon closes in on Georgie Greer. But then whenever he catches Georgie's able to up her pace. Whether it's a case of, well, Dara doesn't slow down really that much. He was only a 1/10 of a second off his fastest lap the last time round. But Georgie Greer just so much quicker than her previous lap. So it's interesting. It's a game of chess here in the Bambino final. Now, the likelihood of a Bambino racer sandbagging or holding back paces is quite humorous, but you would not believe the racing minds on display in this class. The front runners well know what they're doing. As Fitzgibbon tries his first attack to no success. 4.5 minutes remain, and Georgie Greer is at the front of the Bambinos once again. Led most of the final in Kiltorkin in the most previous round. But it was a masterclass from the man behind her, Dara Fitzgibbon, to overtake Hugo Battersby and herself on the last lap to win. Dara Fitzgibbon, a member of the Clare Motor Club, raced in the Nations Cup last year. Won at the Euro Cup in Kiltorkin as well. And is now looking for another win in the National Championship. Oh, he almost got alongside. but Georgie Greer just had the punch out of the corner to remain in front. Three and a half minutes now, and every lap that ticks on, Georgie Greer will grow in confidence. Because that means it's another lap that Fitzgibbon stayed behind. Georgie Greer is being saved for the first corner. Not the quickest through the hairpins, but so good through turn number 1. And that gives her the little bit of a gap over Fitzgibbon. So T4 Bambino final. 2 minutes and 40 plus 1 lap to go. This is your leader, Georgie Greer. And Dara Fitzgibbon behind. Championship leader. One win last year to his name, 2 so far this year. It would be a maiden victory for Georgie Greer if she was able to win this one. Hugo Battersby, still in no man's land in third. Has never finished off the podium this season, has Hugo Battersby. He has 3 podiums and sits third in the championship. As they're approaching some lap carts, that was Georgie Greer's downfall nearly in the opening heat. And it's going to be again. Oh no, it's Dara Fitzgibbon who sneaks through in very similar fashion to heat number 1. Or heat number 2, I should say. And Georgie Greer loses the lead because of it. Fitzgibbon, with just so much more experience of passing carts, was able to just send it past the lapper and strip Georgie Greer of the race lead. Now, can Georgie Greer catch back up and pass? It would be very unlikely at this stage with only a minute and a lap to go. The gap sits at almost exactly a second. Not necessarily out of this yet, you know. That's such good punch in a straight line, has Georgie Greer. That's, I think, why Fitzgibbon finds it so hard to get past. As Danny Clancy back past Emerson Hannon. They're in a fight with Ollie Keneally. So it could be Hannon, Keneally or Clancy who finish in 4th in this race. 2 more laps to go. Dara Fitzgibbon and Georgie Greer. What's the gap at the line? It is 6.5 tenths of a second. So another 3 tenths this lap. And Georgie Greer would put herself in race-winning potential position. And now here goes Georgie Greer down the inside. It's Dara Fitzgibbon. There's contact at the apex. And Dara Fitzgibbon goes off. And Georgie Greer is through. It was an almighty lunge from Greer. And the number 111 is back in the race lead. Heading on to the last lap. Georgie Greer is back in front. Fitzgibbon's lead only lasted a couple of laps. And this time the gap is way too much to catch unless there is a mistake for Georgie Greer. But what a performance from start to finish today for Georgie. It was a heartbreaking loss in Kiltorkin. Would have been a heartbreaking loss if it was due to the lapper here today. But heading through the final couple of corners now. Just one more to go for Georgie Greer. An excellent performance from start to finish. And for the first time in Tillotson Karting, Georgie Greer wins. Dara Fitzgibbon comes home in second. A good result for his championship. Hugo Battersby will take the final podium position in third. First podium off his novice plates. Fourth of the season. And in the fight for fourth, it will be Emerson Hannon. So that could be crucial points for the championship against Dara Fitzgibbon. But what a performance from Georgie Greer. On the podium the last time out, but takes the win this week in County Cork. The stewards, I imagine, will look at the race-winning move, but be interesting to see if a penalty is given for it. But nevertheless, whether Georgie does get a penalty or not, still so good from start to finish today. Didn't deserve to fall behind Dara Fitzgibbon, to be honest. Just a little bit nervy going past lap carts. But there is your result, and it is Georgie Greer who wins, Dara Fitzgibbon in second, Hugo Battersby in third, Emerson Hannon in fourth, and it's Danny Clancy, Ollie Keneally, Christian Adam, Elijah Hartzenberg, Robin Fingleton. Congratulations, Robin, on completing her debut. And then Vince McMenamin down the back. T4 Mini next up here for your finals. So Harley Burton will start on pole in the T4 Mini final alongside Billy Green. Stephen Doyle in third with Colin McMahon, who was a monster in the second heat, in fourth. Then it will be Ronan Sutcliffe and Jack Craig on row 3. Then it's Oisin O'Sullivan alongside James Stafford Jr. Then it is Luke Ryan, Blake McRedmond, Frank Kumar, Josh Higgins and Milo Crowley for an 11-minute plus 1 lap final. Colin McMahon stormed through the field to finish second in the second heat. But there really was no one on the same pace as Harley Burton. Finals have been his Achilles heel this year. And even when Harley wins one, he's received penalties, or in round 2 in Kiltorkin, he broke down on the last lap in the final. Had a spin in the points-paying final here in Watergrasshill. Let's see, can it all go right for a change for 4B's Harley Burton? As I think we're going to be waved around here. There's a lot of space, and yet we're going round. There was practically no one actually behind Harley Burton on the inside. So wave around. Only our second of the day. That's not bad going. Someone touch wood for me, please. The 2 warm-up laps is a cool addition. I don't know if anyone from the MI Kart Commission will be watching this, but I'm certainly in favour of making that a mandatory thing, because it just makes the race starts that much better. It stops any formation problems. Okay, we had one here, but it's been a very rare occurrence today. And even if people do fall back, the likelihood is they're able to catch up, and that's less grumpy people in the pack. So then, Harley Burton and Billy Green share the front row here for T4 Mini. The inside has got the much better start, so keep an eye on Stephen Doyle, who starts behind Harley Burton, as down towards the tram lines they go, and O'Sullivan is a little bit out of line, but we go racing here, and Stephen Doyle has dropped back a lot on the start, so it is Harley Brereton who leads Billy Green down towards the hairpin. Colin McMahon in third. Then it is, I think Sutcliffe is there. James Stafford has fallen back. Grant Kumar's got a decent getaway, as has Jack Craig, but Harley Brereton under pressure here from Billy Green. Billy Green's got to go down the inside, and Billy Green is in the race lead in T4 Mini. What a lovely move by the Clare racer. And Billy Green leads the opening lap for the first time today. It's Brereton in second, then Colin McMahon, James Stafford, Jack Craig, Ronan Sutcliffe. Then it's Kumar, McRedmond, O'Sullivan, Ryan Crowley, Higgins. Apologies, folks, it wasn't Stephen Doyle on the race start. He actually has not made it into the final. So that's why there was a lot of space on the inside row. Billy Green still leading Harley Brereton. Brereton has had such a pace advantage today, but catching the driver is one thing, passing is another. And Harley Brereton looking for it down the inside, couldn't quite make it work. They're side by side, Colin McMahon and James Stafford behind, and Billy Green's left the door open, and Harley Brereton invites his way through. Will the O-plate lunge run back down the inside? No, he won't. Harley Brereton goes defensive. Harley Brereton's run very wide, though, and that'll allow Billy Green through. And this is a bit of a dogfight at the start of the T4 Mini Final. There's still over 9.5 minutes left, plus one lap. And Colin McMahon and James Stafford need to try work together to catch these two while they're fighting. Brereton back down the inside. Billy Green's going to try and hang it the long way around the outside. That takes a lot of skill from Billy Green. The outside of that corner very slippy. Harley Brereton now back down the inside. Brereton's run wide again. Billy Green on the switchback. Billy Green briefly back in front, but Harley Brereton has the crucial inside line for the next hairpin. Billy Green bounces it over the curb. It kills his momentum, and Kildare's Harley Brereton is back in the race lead. And head down, charge forward. Harley Brereton back in front in T4 Mini. James Stafford ahead of Colin McMahon in the fight for third still. And then Ronan Sutcliffe leading Jack Craig in the fight for fifth. 2x2 we race. The Noah's Ark of Tillotson karting. Billy Green is keeping with Harley Brereton here. This feels deja vu for Brereton in his fights with Jack Harney. Colin McMahon down the inside. Lovely move by McMahon. Colin McMahon is such a savvy little wheel-to-wheel racer. But so is James Stafford. Coming into this round, leading the championship is James Stafford. Win a win and a podium. He's in the blue suit on the outside. Colin McMahon is in the luminous yellow on the inside. And there goes James Stafford, looking to try and make the move in front. And they're side by side for the left-hander. Colin McMahon remains in front. So there they are. It's McMahon, Stafford. Then it is Jack Craig, I believe, now ahead of Ronan Sutcliffe. As them two groups joining up. Harley Brereton, fastest lap of the race, but Billy Green still with him. Now it's James Stafford back on the inside of Colin McMahon once again. And James Stafford Jr. finds himself back up onto the podium places. And this is a fierce fight for third. McMahon still on the outside. This is the corner where he pulled off that worldie on Billy Green in the second heat. Not able to do so on this occasion. James Stafford will remain in front this time. Billy Green with the fastest lap. Not on the last lap, a handful of laps ago. Harley Burton is slowly pulling away. Another fastest lap for Billy Green. They are both setting 35.9s though. It's just Billy Green's is slightly ahead in the decimal places. And Colin McMahon and James Stafford side by side once again. This really is a phenomenal scrap here in the T4 mini final. Between these two, McMahon is going to try down the inside. That's unorthodox from Colin McMahon. And Colin, has he got the little switchback? Has he got the up and under? Oh, he has. Colin McMahon. This is exceptional wheel-to-wheel racing. And spin. Spin for Sutcliffe, or is it Craig? No, it was Sutcliffe who spun. So that puts these two in a little bit of clean air. First and second, oh so close. And there they are, Harley Burton and Billy Green. What a class of racing T4 Mini has been this year. It's every single weekend we go into it going, one of these has the outright pace, and then you get battles like this. Billy Green leads in Watergrasshill, the circuit where he won the O-Plate at the start of the year. The circuit where it could be a Harley heartbreak once again. Harley's going for the Jacques Villeneuve Championship approach, it seems, where you only have to win one race. There's 3 minutes and 20 seconds plus 1 lap remaining. Harley Burton back down the inside now, and Harley lunges it, and he's got it done. And Harley Burton is back in front. He will not go down without swinging, and Billy Green is back, and it's one makes the move, the other gets back past, and then it reverses once again. Billy Green is putting it up to Harley Burton here, and Burton is in a dogfight to try and finally win in T4 Mini. Harley Burton has not had one singular calm lap in a final this year, whether it be the National Championship, the Euro Cup. He's had to scrap for everything he's worth. And Billy Green is a handful of kart lengths now. Two minutes plus 1 lap remaining in County Cork for the T4 Mini Final. Billy Green versus Harley Burton. An O-Plate win for Billy this year. Harley has not tasted victory just yet, but he goes back down the inside. And if he wants to try and win, he's going about it in all the right ways, as Harley Burton usually does. There's some nervy faces from the Burton family, the 4B racing team, on the spectators' gantry as they're watching Harley and Billy duke it out. This is an exceptional scrap. Reminiscent of some of the iconic Formula 1 fights across the years. Villeneuve and Arnoux, Rinton Stewart, Green and Burton, and Billy Green is back in front. And there's 1 minute and 10 seconds plus 1 lap remaining in what has been a blockbuster T4 Mini final. again and again and again. And Billy Green and Harley Burton both want to win so badly. Lap traffic could play into their hands. That's Josh Higgins in front. And Josh Higgins has held up Billy Green. And Harley Burton is going to lunge them both. Oh, Harley Burton has got it done. Billy Green's on the outside of the circuit. And Burton doesn't let him back on. That would show Mika Hakkinen up. What a move by Harley Burton. And he's giving everything to Billy Green. Second final lap. Actually, could be the third final lap. Might be another one. Depends how quick they run this one. Billy Green is back in front here. Harley Burton back down the inside. Swapping and changing. Who do you put your money on in this? And Billy Green is back in front for the time being. Every single corner there's almost an overtake. They're both weaving around karts. This is exceptional. These two are possessed here in the T4 Mini final. Billy Green is in front. There's 10 seconds left on the clock as they head for the final corner. It's going to be by a matter of inches, but we will get 2 final laps in this one. It's what this race deserves. This shouldn't have to end, because this is fairy tale. This is a pure dream to have a race as good as this on our hands here in the Motorsport Ireland Karting Championships. Billy Green is still in front, and Harley Burton is right on his bumper once again. And there's a little nudge on the bumper from Harley Burton. It's probably what needs to happen. These two at the top of their game today. One final lap in one of the greatest races of our time. Starting the final lap, Harley Burton and Billy Green are side by side once again. Harley Burton lunges it down the inside here in the T4 Mini final. Billy Green is forced to the outside. Won the O-plate here in dramatic circumstances, did Billy Green. He's looking for a championship win. It's a little wobble in the steering wheel, but he still has the momentum because Burton runs a little bit wide. And Harley Burton has a couple of kart lengths in front now. If he gets these next few corners right, he could finally do it. Is it finally the day that Burton ends the drought in through the final hairpin? My oh my, has this been a contest, and it's going to come down to a drag race to the line through the final corner. The race of the ages is won by Harley Burton, and that is a sigh of relief from the mechanics on the wall. Harley Burton finally wins in T4 Mini. Burton and Green need to be celebrated as two unbelievable racers. That was a joy to witness. Absolute joy. There was about 4 or 5 laps there where every corner they just swapped and changed and weaved past lap cars. Harley Burton went around the outside of Billy Green and a lapped cart at the same time. And I really hope that one isn't decided by a penalty, because they both drove their socks off for that one. That's what winning means. Sorry to all the other racers in that, because we didn't really get to cover them much. James Stafford, the championship leader, comes home in third, as there is your confirmation. A 10th and a half it ended up being. Colin McMahon in fourth. Jack Craig comes home in 5th position. Then it is Varant Kumar in 6th. Ronan Sutcliffe in 7th. Oisin O'Sullivan in 8th. Luke Ryan in 9th. Milo Crowley gets 10th. Best result of the day for him. Then it was Josh Higgins. And unfortunately a DNF for Blake McRedmond, which we didn't even really get to cover. And we don't even get a moment of rest because the juniors are already out on track. Once again, excellent efficiency by the Carrick and Suir Motor Club. Fionn English starts on pole alongside Dermot Claridge Jr. Then it's Zach Battersby, Adrian Kiel, Will Daly in 5th. Then it's McNamara, Collins, Garcia, Donovan, Bruton, Keneally, Stafford. Then we have Crowley, O'Keefe, Fingleton, O'Connor, Mitchell, King, O'Callaghan, Kelly, Kedzarek, Black, Hackett and Skryomski. It's a shuffled up grid, to be honest, with the likes of O'Keefe and Fingleton down the order. And we've someone's crashed on the warm-up lap. They have hit the barrier. And that is Rory O'Donovan, I think. The American representative. Yep, it's number 338. It is Mike Doty Racing's Rory O'Donovan. He's not racing with them this weekend, but that would be his usual US team. Is that Paul Grogan who's fixing the barriers? Our timekeeper. Yeah, it is Paul. Fair play, Paul of timing.ie. Oh, his timing equipment was hit. Oh, that's why. I knew he wasn't just running out to fix the barriers. Yeah, we're going to have to wait, unfortunately. We kind of need that. It's quite an important piece of equipment. Dare I say, the most important piece of equipment. I'd love to say that my microphone is the most important piece of equipment, but it absolutely isn't. It's the timing beam. So it was Rory O'Donovan who hit it, and to be fair, if you're going to spin and crash, hitting the timing of equipment to allow yourself to get back to the pack and back in your starting position is absolutely the way to do it. Because, yeah, he's back in position now, because we had to all stop. The man who locally races at Oakland Valley Race Park in the state of New York. He's a long way from home here in Watergrasshill, County Cork. So there just need to be a little bit of shuffling up here. To be honest, it's kind of the rest my voice needed, so it's kind of the rest I think we all needed after that hectic mini final. But the Carrick and Suir Motor Club do a great job. That was an excellent call to call that so quick. It gave Glenn Brereton a chance to get back onto the spectators' balcony after congratulating his son on the win. His other son, one of 4 in this race. There's Harley, Wesley, Tyler and Kyle. And I probably say the wrong name for every single one of their races, but the Breretons are all excellent racers. A wave around to give another warm-up lap. To ideally not hit the timing equipment. Gave you a good look, folks, at the sensor that timing.ie use. Like, you wouldn't even notice it, but this track is covered in their equipment. It's covered in CCTV cameras for the stewards as well to look at. If you look through turn number 1, you'll see sort of a black pole sticking up with 2 little CCTV cameras pointing off it. That's the Motorsport Ireland CCTV. So they use totally different footage to us for judging their stewards' incidents. The live stream, not officially allowed to be submitted as footage. I think they lean on it sometimes. I know in Mondello, for circuit racing, they do. But yeah, there's so much equipment around this track that you don't even notice until Rory O'Donovan goes off and hits it. But we're all good to go here for the T4 Junior Final. It's Fionn English on pole position. No, we're waved around again, unfortunately. So it's another wave around. So just to remind you of our starting order, it is Fionn English, who's on pole, winner of Heat 2. Dermot Claridge Jr. alongside him, winner of Heat 1. Then it's Zach Battersby and Adrian Giel. Will Daly and Owen McNamara, 5th and 6th. McNamara was a monster in Heat 2, setting fastest laps left, right and centre. So keep an eye on him, and keep an eye on Ben O'Keefe and Jack Fingleton, 2 of the championship frontrunners who are down the order. Okay, we're a lot more bunched up this time. And we should be good to go as they head round and enter down towards the tram lines. And Fionn English is looking to accelerate. And, oh, there was a wheel very close to the tram lines, but I think he'll be okay as we go racing in Watergrasshill. And Zach Battersby is up and into second place already. It's a brilliant start from Oran Henry Racing's Battersby, but Dermot Claridge is on the outside. Battersby shows him the door. Claridge rejoins alongside Adrian Giel in towards the left-hander, and it is slick conditions here for this. The wet racing suit overalls are firmly off, and team colours proudly on display. Fionn English still leads with Claridge in second. English, Battersby, Giel, Claridge, Will Daly in 5th, and Wesley Brereton up 4 positions. Jack Fingleton is up 7 positions on the opening lap to 8th. The O-Plate runner means business here. And English under pressure from Battersby. This is how they ran in the second heat, with Battersby just parked behind English for the whole race. It's a black and white flag for James King, number 325. As down towards the first corner, it is still Fionn English to lead. Jack Fingleton is up 2 more positions to 6th position, looking to pick up good championship points. He knows all about scoring points, does Jack Fingleton. A county footballer for Kildare. He's looking to pick up a lot more than a 2-pointer here in Watergrasshill. He's up to 6th already, as Fionn English is under pressure from Zach Battersby. And is English holding up Battersby a little bit here? For the sake of Zach Battersby's race, he may need to get past Fionn fairly quickly, because the man behind, Adrian Giel, has just set the fastest lap, and Jack Fingleton has just beaten it, and Jack Fingleton is up to 5th position already. This could be the drive of all drives for Jack Fingleton, but he's behind Dermot Claridge Jr., and Dermot Claridge Jr. is a man of equal pace. Little bit wide for Fionn English. Was that Zach Battersby's chance to sneak up the inside? And Zach Battersby in the middle of the sandwich. Fingleton with the fastest lap again. He's trying to get past Dermot Claridge Jr. Adrian Giel is teeing up a move here on Zach Battersby if Battersby's not careful. And that is Fingleton past Claridge. Claridge was given a hefty shoulder by the footballer. And unfortunately, we've one pulled off at the very back. And they are out of this one. And that was Owen Murphy, I think. No, it wasn't. It was Nathan Mitchell. So Nathan Mitchell is out of the T4 Junior final at a very early stage. You can see him there jogging towards the marshal's post as the field flies through. Zach Battersby is on the tail of Fionn English. As down towards the first corner they come, there's another black and white flag being shown to James King, as Tiernan O'Connor has just picked up the fastest lap of the race. So the number 307, who was ran strong, he's on for a big improvement in the championship. Came into this round in 15th, and he's ran very strong as Tiernan O'Connor. He's inside the top 10 now in 9th, just ahead of James King. Chasing after Rory O'Donovan. And Battersby bumping English all the way down to turn number 2, but cannot make a move stick just yet. And Adrian Giel has to be very careful because he's got his teammate behind him. And Fingleton could well try a move and go for the podium. Took pole, did Jack Fingleton, but didn't win either of the heats. The final is the one you want to win, though. That's the one you get the trophy for. We unfortunately have another cart pulled off at Marshall's Post 3, which is just around this hairpin. You can see there's one, there's two. Carts pulled off, that is. So there's a little debrief going on amongst the two drivers of what went wrong in their respective races. But what's going right for Fionn English is Zach Battersby cannot find a way past. 5.5 minutes left plus 1 lap, as they all glance over their shoulder to see where their respective rivals are behind them. The top 5, all within a second. And now it is Adrian Giel who was looking for the move on Zach Battersby, but could not find a way through. Little bit wide for Battersby. Gieldo not able to try it around the outside. Someone's got to kick this all off. It is 5 incredibly talented Motorsport Ireland karting drivers. But there can only be one winner. Who will it be? Can English hold on? Will Battersby finally go for the move? Must be a bit sick of seeing the blue helmet of Fionn English now, as Battersby's received a black and white flag. There's still 4.5 minutes plus a lap in this, which is the guts of 7 or 8 laps, really. We're lapping at the 35-second mark. Fastest lap in this one is the 35.6 belonging to Jack Fingleton. And it is nervy stuff for here as Jack Fingleton finally pops the cork and he goes for the move on Adrian Giel. It was not successful. So he goes for it again. That time it's a lot better. And Dermot Claridge Jr. is looking for the move past Giel as well. Once one goes, they all start kicking off. And now Fionn English and Zach Battersby are looking to send it on up the road. And we have someone pulled off in a pretty dangerous location on the exit of turn number 3. And they're trying to get the kart going again. Yellow flags in that area, so no overtaking. You'll be able to see them. That's in a really dangerous spot. And yeah, the driver rightly being told, unfortunately, you've got to just get out of the way there. That's driver safety more than anything. As a black and orange flag for Bobby Hackett. Oh, Bobby's day just gets worse, I'm afraid. As though it was Ben O'Keefe who was pulled off. Couldn't quite see it because there was a tyre barrier and a dip in the road. But that's your championship leader, Ben O'Keefe, out of the final. Oh no, it's not. It wasn't O'Keefe. He just fell down the order. Because there was a driver with a different helmet. But Ben O'Keefe is down to 18th. O'Keefe still in the race though. So he will be lucky to get some points. 2 minutes and 20 plus 1 lap left. Zach Battersby pushing Fionn English through the corner still. If Battersby doesn't get a move on here, Jack Fingleton may fancy his chances. But Fionn English, what a job he's doing at the front. 1 round 2 of the championship in similar fashion. Purchased the kart he's racing now from Kiltorkin in 2025 and was 16th in the championship last season. Unless Zach just likes finishing second. It's not a bad place to finish. I know there's the old Ayrton Senna quote of, oh, second is the first of the losers, but when you're going for a championship, second's not too bad. Zach Battersby comes into this round 13th in the championship, but he did miss the opening round in Tillotson because he was racing a Rotax. So that will be his drop round. So once drop rounds are applied, he has finished on the podium twice. His younger brother, Hugo, not too interested, sprinting down the viewing balcony. But Zach Battersby is all action here with 1 minute plus 1 lap to go. This has been the way a lot of T4 junior races have gone this year, if you haven't watched them. Ben O'Keefe won doing the exact same thing in Kiltorkin that Fionn English is doing. Literally just parking in front of the second place and second place not able to get past. It's very Senna Mansell-esque. Watergrasshill a lot easier to overtake though than Monaco, I would have thought. Does Zach Battersby go for broke? There is that's Ben O'Keefe. I think they're lapping, and that unfortunately is a A sign of a bad day for Ben O'Keefe. The Carrick and Suir man will likely use today as his championship drop round. 2 laps to go. English, Battersby, Fingleton. Your top 3 all looking for the race win. Fingleton won the O-Plate here, but has not finished on the championship podium until now. And down the inside goes Jack Fingleton. He's up to 2nd place. It's a new challenger now for Fionn English here on the last lap. Can Fionn English hold on for his 2nd victory of the season? The number 322. Last lap starting here in Kiltorkin once again, and it's a last lap shootout as hands are waving on the pit wall. Jack Fingleton. Is it going to be 2 moves in 2 laps to win in Watergrasshill once again? The location where he won his O-Plate. Fionn English runs wide. Fionn English runs wide. Jack Fingleton's on the outside. It's not the ideal race position, and he's looking for the switchback manoeuvre. They're going to be side by side for the chicane. Battersby could still be in this. It's going to be a lunge into the final corner from Jack Fingleton. It's going to be a lunge into the final corner from Jack Fingleton. It's the Battersby blind side on the inside. He's going to get 2nd position on the run towards the line. Jack Fingleton wins in Cork. Zach Battersby in 2nd again. It's Battersby 2, as he is now duly known as. Fionn English in 3rd. That was like a horse race. 2 moves in 2 laps for Jack Fingleton. Oh, heartbreak for Fionn English. Jack Fingleton is a star of the future. He started that race in 15th position on row 8. And he only went and won it. A disappointing race for some, but what a cracking race for Jack Fingleton, who takes the win in Watergrasshill to propel his championship endeavour. Zach Battersby in 2nd again. Then it's English, Claridge, Gael, Bruton, Daly, O'Donovan, O'Connor, Keneally, McNamara, McIntyre, Kedzarek, Strang, O'Callaghan, Crowley, Skriomsky, Moore, Kelly and Cooling. Your top 20. And then unfortunately a plethora of non-finishes in that one, but it was McMahon, Stafford, Murphy, Black, O'Keefe, and then non-finishes for Hackett, Collins, King, Mitchell and Ali Garcia. Ali unfortunately not able to repeat the feat here in Watergrasshill. T4 Senior coming up next. It just doesn't end, does it, the entertainment of the Motorsport Ireland Karting Championships, and you can watch all the races here on Vantage Point Video for the remainder of the round. So what better time? It's pop a subscription. It costs absolutely nothing to do so. And why would you miss out on this? A little bit of kart and commentator voice recovery. But we get ready for T4 Senior. So as soon as the truck of stricken Tillotsons is in, we get our senior lads out for their final. It's Robert Butler on pole, then Palmer, Brett, Burke, Adam Butler, Wilson, McMahon, McClelland, Phelan, Brereton, Mooney and Toomey. Then it is Owen O'Mahony, Kayla O'Sullivan, then it's championship leader Brunel, Maguire, Keneally, Mackenzie Smith, McDermott, Bechtold, Gallagher, Deasy, McNulty and Hassan Khan. Then we have Adam Perry, Tyler Kedzarek and Max O'Neill. So T4 Senior. The heats were split by Robert Butler and Peter Brett, but Luke Palmer is on the front row as he finished high up and on the podium in them both. But there has been pace around the field for the likes of Joe Bechtold. Would like to see a little bit more from Brian Wilson. I wonder if Jake Brunel anything else in the locker as well. It's not been a great day for him. Kayla O'Sullivan has ran very strong. But had a bit of an incident in heat number 2, so might cut through the field. As into the final corner they come, it's Robert Butler on the inside, Luke Palmer on the outside, and then Peter Brett, keep an eye on him on the second row. And Joe Bechtold in the all-gold overalls down near the back. A lot of pace, but was excluded from one race and finished 9th in the other. Down towards the tram lines, and Robert Butler needs to be careful not to cross them, but Luke Palmer's got the better start, and Cahan McClelland is looking to push his way through, but it is going to not be Robert Butler. It will be Peter Brett who leads in towards turn number 2. An excellent start from the row 2 man. Keith Burke with a bit of assistance for Luke Palmer as well. Race start already under investigation, and there's a crash, and 2 have tangled, and that is Jack Mackenzie Smith, who is out of this one very early on, as well as Ava McMahon. McMahon drives on, but Mackenzie Smith, the Tim Murray racing man, has not had a good day here in Watergrasshill. And that is the icing on the cake, really. As Peter Brett leads Luke Palmer, who leads the other Butler, Adam Butler. Then it's McClelland, Robert Butler. I think this is the first time this season that Adam Butler has led Robert Butler. Well, apart from the time Robert Butler ended up upside down in the Euro Cup, but that's besides the point. In the National Championship. Robert Butler down to 5th, Keith Burke down to 6th, Brian Wilson down to 9th. 3 positions lost for Brian Wilson. It's bad luck for one Tim Murray man. It's a lot of good luck for the other one. Elijah Mooney's up 3. Apex Twin Racing's Dermot Toomey up 5. So great start for Dermot Toomey as Peter Brett chops the front off Luke Palmer. Still well over 11 minutes plus a lap to go in this one. Let's not get excited too yet. Let's not get too excited yet, I should say. There is a lot of... I say as I'm actively getting too excited. There's a lot of racing to go here in this one. There's a black and white flag being shown to Isabel McDermott. As down in through the final corners. Bit of a schism in the field. That responsibility lies with Robert Butler to try and close. Yellow flags at the first corner. We have someone off. But they are looking to get going once again. That's Hassan Khan, unfortunately, who has gone off. Usually performs a lot better in finals than he does in the heats, Khan, but a bit of bad luck this time round. Peter Brett is under a lot of pressure here from Dramore's Luke Palmer. There's now Brian Wilson. That's Brian Wilson getting past one of the OHR carts. Is that Wilson getting past? It's Wilson getting past Keith Burke. Robert Butler's gone up the road a little bit, and Keith Burke back down the inside. And there is Burke ahead, and Brian Wilson pointing, going, "Do you fancy getting a move on, sir?" Keith Burke evidently does, because he wants to get back with the front runners, but doesn't seem that way. The Butler versus Butler feud, unfortunately, not lasting long, and Robert Butler now fourth and driving on up the road. Adam Butler is under a lot of pressure from Elijah Mooney. And Robert Butler is a matter of fact setting the fastest lap of the race. Here's Luke Palmer, Peter Brett and Cahan McClelland. McClelland and Palmer would have battled a lot in UKC and in various IGPs, with IGP, of course, coming up in a couple of weeks' time. What an event that's going to be, especially for these Tillotson racers. For those who are travelling up to Nuts Corner. But for now, the remaining 9 minutes of focus go on to this race. And who will win it in a big, big race for the T4 Senior Championship? Leading the championship is Jake Brunel, but he certainly won't after this round. He's at a lot better of a final. He's up to 11th. But it's not the big points that the championship leader will be expecting. This, no doubt, will be his drop. So it's not a total write-off in terms of the championship for Jake Brunel, but it won't help. And the top three are literally bumping each other through the corners as Luke Palmer leads. And what this all means is Robert Butler is being able to catch. So 8 minutes plus a lap to go. One more race after this, folks. It's our T4 Senior 168 final. As Dermot Toomey has got past Elijah Mooney, so has Joe Beck told Jake Brunel. I have put the commentator's curse on him. I said it was going a lot better. It isn't. He's lost 8 places and he's down to 19th. This has been a total write-off for the championship leader. And there goes, down the inside goes Cahan McClelland. McClelland is up to second position now. It's gone right for the Kildare men in T4 Junior, Jack Fingleton. Not gone right for them in T4 Senior. Brunel and Mackenzie Smith both having their various troubles. But it's an all-Ulster clash at the top. Dromore County Down versus Forkhill Armagh. Alex Dempsey Racing versus Oren Henry Racing. Robert Butler is just slowly closing these in. Butler is no doubt going to be in the fight for the race win come the end of this 6 minutes and 50 seconds. Loves it around here, does Robert Butler. Took the championship round win here on our bumper weekend. Robert Butler started out his racing career, like all young racers really these days, on the Assetto Corsa platform on his PlayStation. And now he's absolutely wheeling it on the national stage here in the Tillotson Ireland Karting Championship. McClelland closing in on Palmer a little bit. He was a tenth of a second quicker than Luke Palmer on the last lap. Luke Palmer with a win to his name this season, but sits 7th in the championship. Didn't have the best of rounds last time out in Kiltorkin. But again, as previously mentioned, all these drivers have one drop round. So what that means is your lowest heat score and your lowest final score at the end of the season will be removed. And with those removed, that is your championship points. It effectively is in place for those who might miss a round due to finances or holidays or any act of God, as they would say. Robert Butler's driving like a god. And he is on the tail of Peter Brett. And Peter Brett now overtook Butler to win Heat 2. And Robert Butler has a lot more pace than Peter Brett at this stage in the final. 4 minutes and 40 seconds plus 1 lap to go here in Watergrasshill. And Robert Butler now is looking for the inside on Peter Brett. No, wasn't close enough alongside Keith Burke, setting the fastest lap of the race. So Keith Burke, now that he's in clean air, might sense opportunity. Luke Palmer still doing a great job at the front of this. Robert Butler ideally needs to get past Peter Brett this lap to give him time to attack his teammate Cahan McClelland and his championship rival Luke Palmer. Not to say that McClelland isn't a championship rival. Sits sixth in the championship, does Cahan McClelland. He's actually ahead of Luke Palmer. A pool lifeguard is Cahan McClelland by trade. Robert Butler shows the nose, but no move on. Some droplets of rain slowly sprinkling across Watergrasshill, but it should not have that much of an effect on this race. This is Cahan McClelland, right up the bumper of Luke Palmer. And now here he goes. Here he goes, Cahan McClelland with the block pass for the race lead. And McClelland is in front. With 2 minutes to go, Cahan McClelland leads in T4 Senior. Advancing from junior. McClelland looking for the first win of 2026. And now some lap traffic to deal with, but they dispatched that A-OK. Luke Palmer now is holding up Peter Brett, and Brett might fancy a chance for the race win here all of a sudden. Had the best pace of the field in Heat 2. Not necessarily here in the final, but anything can happen when they all start scrapping at it. We've had a last lap battle for the win in T4 Mini and in T4 Junior. Will we have another one in T4 Senior? Still a few laps to go until we get there, but it's looking like it's a four-way fight at the front. Down towards the first corner. We'll have 3 more laps by the looks of it. Here in this final, Luke Palmer on the tail of Cahan McClelland. No joy once again from Palmer. Both these two raced in the Nations Cup last year, representing their nations on the international stage. Robert Butler still cannot find a way past Peter Brett. Brett just has enough pace to stay in front. So there'll be one more to go after this. Cahan McClelland runs a little bit wide Is there another twist in what has been a beautiful Tillotson tale here today? Robert Butler is finally past Peter Brett, is he? And Peter Brett will be pushed to the outside. They're side by side down the main straight. It is a two-horse race up front between Cahan McClelland and Luke Palmer. And Luke Palmer nudges McClelland through the first corner. Will it be a lunge in towards turn number 2? No. Cahan goes defensive. Cahan runs a little bit wide. And it's going to be very difficult for Palmer to get past here. Doesn't lunge it down the inside. Both of these have championships to think about as well. Cahan McClelland is a little bit wide. Can Luke Palmer lunge it into the chicane? I don't think he can. He's too far behind, and it's been a storming drive from Cahan McClelland. It'll be a drag race once again, but McClelland has slipstream from a lapper in front, and Cahan McClelland wins in Watergrasshill. Luke Palmer taking second. Robert Butler ends up on the podium in third. Beats Peter Brett on that last lap. As there was no move for Luke Palmer, McClelland drove an excellent last lap. Very precise indeed. It was 5/10 off both their respective PBs, but he won the race as McClelland and Palmer seemed to miss the checkered flag because they were racing again on the last lap, but that was the in lap. Cahan McClelland is the winner. We'll get confirmed results in a moment, but our timing screen telling us now that it was Cahan McClelland. And yeah, no changes. As Jack Mackenzie Smith actually receiving an exclusion from that race. It's already come through on the timing system. It was for bumping carts on the formation lap, which is a new one, but that is annoying for Jack Mackenzie Smith because as far as I'm aware that means you can't use it as a drop round. Don't hold me to that, folks, but what I'm trying to say is this was a disaster for Jack Mackenzie Smith this weekend. Not what he would have wanted. Here's your confirmed results. Cahan McClelland takes the win. And there's Luke Palmer, Robert Butler, Peter Brett, Keith Burke, Brian Wilson, Adam Butler, Joe Bechtold, Dermot Toomey, and Max O'Neill. A turnaround for Max to finish in 10th after a disappointing morning. Tyler Britton in 11th, Elijah Mooney in 12th, and it was Josh Phelan, Jake Brunel, Tymon Kedzarek, Toby Maguire, Owen O'Mahony, Ben McNulty, Michael Gallagher, and Kayla O'Sullivan in 20th position. And then further down the order in 21st, Ben Deasy. Isabel McDermott comes home in 22nd. Then Hassan Khan, 23rd. Ava McMahon, 24th. And then Jack Mackenzie Smith, as we said, with that exclusion, I'm afraid. So one more final to come up here in Watergrasshill. That is our T4 Senior 168s in a few moments. So it's time for our final. With Anthony Holland on pole and Stephen Brett alongside. Then it's Luke Kavanagh and Colin Munnelly on row 2. Mickey Brennan and Kevin McRedmond on row 3. Mark Gorman, Eddie Roach, Chris Coleman and Tom Croke to round out our senior 168 grid. And oh, there's problems. That's Mark Gorman. But he's got going again. Our pole sitter from this morning. We do still have the 2 warm-up laps in play, so plenty of time for Mark Gorman to get back to his grid position. So Anthony Holland has been miles out in front in this class today, but they have had adverse weather conditions for both their heats. This is probably the most normal of weather, and I imagine they're all on slicks. Yeah, all definitely on the slick tyres. So will it be the Anthony Holland show once again here in Cork? Or can Stephen Brett, the local man, challenge? Luke Kavanagh, he'll be looking to avenge his losses of round 3 and maybe take a win. Well, there's only one way to find out, and we will, across this 13-minute plus 1 lap final. And now in towards the tram lines. Holland and Brett on the front row. Luke Kavanagh will be looking to follow Anthony Holland through, and there was a bit of separation on the outside, and that's going to allow Mickey Brennan up to 3rd position. Colin Munnelly dropping down the order, and Mickey Brennan is up to 3rd. Has Colin Munnelly even made it out? I don't see Munnelly. No, Colin Munnelly not racing in the final. Your reigning champion is not here, and that is very disappointing for Colin Munnelly. So Anthony Holland leads in 168. Stephen Brett in 2nd. Luke Kavanagh in 2nd. Mickey Brennan in 3rd. Then Stephen Brett in 4th position. Stephen Brett and Mickey Brennan made a bit of contact in the earlier heat. So I imagine Brennan will be all elbows out if Stephen Brett is able to catch. This is a little bit further back. That is Brett's under pressure from Eddie Roach. Roach ran well in Heat 2 as well. They all kind of were very similar pace in Heat number 2. Apart from Anthony Holland, obviously, who was 16 light years in front. The gap is still under a second at the front, but Anthony Holland starting to put in the quick times. 0.2 of a second quicker than Luke Kavanagh on the last lap. That's a lovely little switchback from Eddie Roach on Mark Gorman. And Gorman is still on the inside now. And Mark Gorman is ahead. Finally showing what he can do while wheel to wheel. He was on the wrong tyres earlier on. That's why he fell down the order. But doing a good job in the final so far. Still 11 minutes to go, so plenty of time. And Luke Kavanagh is not letting Anthony Holland run away in the way he was earlier. Still Mark Gorman and Eddie Roach battling. Mickey Brennan not under pressure from Stephen Brett just yet. As here's Mark Gorman. Gorman on the inside of Stephen Brett, and they're side by side for the long right-hander. And Mark Gorman getting ahead. And a lovely move from Mark. That gives Mickey Brennan a couple of cart lengths to try and pull away. But Mark Gorman, the Corkonian, 6th in the championship, but didn't race in the round 2 final, is finally showing what he's made of in race trim. Took pole earlier on this morning in wetter conditions. They're doing a good job. Anthony Holland has said he's had enough of this, being under pressure, and he set the fastest lap. And now leads by 1.3 seconds ahead of Luke Kavanagh. So a bit of separation across the 168 field, but Mark Gorman and Stephen Brett are slowly catching Mickey Brennan. That'll bring Eddie Roach into the fight as well. This is the fight for the final podium place, with Anthony Holland and Luke Kavanagh gone up the road. Eight minutes plus 1 lap to go in this one. Anthony Holland is certainly not pulling away to the same level he was earlier, but it's still such a pace advantage that the Kilkenny man and championship leader has. Over Luke Kavanagh. I find it quite funny that... Oh, hold on, we'll hold that thought for a second, because there goes Eddie Roach. That's Eddie Roach on the inside of Stephen Brett, and that's a lovely clean move from Eddie Roach. What I was going to say is I find it quite funny that Anthony Holland is absolutely dominant at Watergrasshill. He owns Kiltorcan and he's not dominant at it. I just find it quite funny. But Anthony Holland, bar any mechanical, will take the win here, second win of the season. And that could be the commentator's curse of the ages, and the man may never let me race at this circuit ever again if it is. Here's Mickey Brennan and Mark Gorman battling, set up beside each other in the paddock, and now side by side on the racing circuit. And Mark Gorman is true, up to third place, and Mark Gorman has shown some brilliant pace in this one. Can Mickey Brennan fight back? New race suit, he's a rejuvenated man, and is having some of his best running in the championship so far. So Eddie Roach now closing in on Brennan. And the two boffins of the Carrick and Suir Motor Club may start battling it out on the circuit in an event organised by the fantastic Carrick and Suir Motor Club. And what a job they've done here today. The drivers and the organisation. Clerk of the course James Coleman has been on the money, as have all the track crew. Marshalled on circuit and the snatch crew with the flatbed. The lead now for Anthony Holland, 3.4 seconds. It by far will be the most dominant win today. Every other race has been decided by a handful of tenths. Maybe a little bit more for Georgie Greer and Bambino. But every other race, certainly, a handful of tenths, and 3 coming down to the last lap. And now, Eddie Roach trying to get past Mickey Brennan. And Brennan defending to the inside. Roach not going to find a way through there. He'll have to try again, but he has 4 minutes and 1 lap to workshop a move here. And Mickey Brennan will stay in front for the time being. Brennan 6th in the championship. Roach 5th. Roach's best result of the season so far was a 4th place finish. It unfortunately looks like it will be 4th again at best for Eddie Roach, because Luke Kavanagh and Mark Gorman have ran up the road after they got past Brennan. And then obviously Anthony Holland, we know what masterclass he's producing. There's Luke Kavanagh weaving his way through, followed by Mark Gorman. Gorman, who took pole position this morning but didn't have 2 great heats. He's ran very well here in the final and is looking for a podium. He was 7th in the championship last season, was 8th in the championship coming into this round. But as we previously mentioned, didn't race the final and raced in round 2. So this will be a good points haul for Mark Gorman. This will be a good points haul for Brennan and Roach, no matter what positions they end up in. Of course, with the 2 Hersons missing, they gain points over them. Exactly 2 minutes and 1 lap to go. Anthony Holland now leads by 4.5 seconds exactly. And no doubt that will increase on the next lap. Little bit of an error from Mickey Brennan. But it kind of worked out okay. He got the exit on Eddie Roach because of it and fired it down the straight. The little swift duck it ahead for the extra straight line speed. When they do that, it always reminds me of, I'm not sure if anyone's seen the motorcycle racing clip. I think it was Phillip Island, where there was a flying seagull and the bike racer ducked down to headbutt it. No seagulls near here. We're not quite on the coast, even if the circuit is named after water. That's 45 seconds plus 1 lap remain for Anthony Holland to see home, and for Luke Kavanagh, Mark Gorman and Mickey Brennan in their respective fights. And Eddie Roach is right on the tail now. This is the closest he's been to Brennan. We haven't touched on it much, but Chris Coleman and Kevin McRedmond have had an insanely good scrap for what is unfortunately second last and last, but still having good fun. That's what T4 Senior 168 is all about for the most part. The majority of this grid all racing for FBR, and all having good fun while doing so. Clock strikes 0. as Anthony Holland is just circling round now for the final corners to start the final lap of proceedings. It'll be the final lap that Eddie Roach can try get past Mickey Brennan, and what will be for fourth position. As now Roach trying the inside in towards turn number 1, but Mickey Brennan covers us off. Totally fair and legal, one defensive manoeuvre. Will there be a lunge from Roach? I can't imagine so. As they head through the hairpin. 2 more real overtaking opportunities to go, but what an insane drive from Anthony Holland today. The dominant force, and he takes the second win in the championship. It's a clean sweep in Cork for Anthony Holland. Luke Kavanagh comes home in second, then it's Mark Gorman in third, and Mickey Brennan will come home in fourth to beat Eddie Roach in the battle of the day. They enjoyed that one, a quick handshake, I believe, while running. Stephen Brett will come home in 6th. And then Tom Croke, Kevin McRedmond and Chris Coleman. Good pace today from Tom Croke. And Kevin McRedmond and Chris Coleman round us out. And that, folks, is another event of the Motorsport Ireland Karting Championships. And if you want to know how good today went, the scheduled ending time was 49 minutes past 4. Check your watches, check your clocks, check your phone. It is 49 minutes past 4. And in a week that's been not the easiest for Motorsport Ireland karting, there were meetings, there were discussions, there were narratives. I think that's a perfect way to bounce back. An extremely successful Tillotson Ireland karting event, with the final race being won by Anthony Holland, Luke Kavanagh in second, Mark Gorman in third, Mickey Brennan in fourth, and Eddie Roach in fifth, Stephen Brett in sixth, Tom Croke in seventh, Kevin McRedmond in eighth, and Chris Coleman rounds us out in ninth. What a fantastic job by the Carrick and Suir Motor Club once again here in Watergrasshill. And a big thanks to all the sponsors here on the Vantage Point video live stream. They've been ticking through on the top right hand corner. So a big thanks to them for helping us do what we do best. Please do make sure to subscribe to Vantage Point Video on both Facebook and YouTube. Although you follow on Facebook, but you get the point. And thank you very much for joining us for another brilliant Sunday of Motorsport Ireland karting. My name's Ben Evan Dalton. Stay safe, stay well, and we shall see you again in a couple of weeks' time. Slàinte.